Hello and welcome to Cricket Adda presents Wrong One episode 13. Consistency is the key, they say, and that's exactly what we have done. Consistently maintained the streak 13 episodes in a row. Uh, Kevin, if you could mute yourself, that would be great because I think double hour. Yeah, that would be better. So I was talking about consistency, and just to tell you, put things in perspective, we all three have joined from three different locations. As you can see, I'm in the Adelaide Oval. It's pretty much the perfect setting for a cricket match at this point of time. Kevin has straight away joined us from Porter House Bar and Grill in New York. You can see the background, couple of TVs going on. But the most dedicated of all, Shabby sir has joined us from straight from the Himalayas, and you can see the background. I mean, it's 12 a.m. in India. I don't know how there's a lot of sunlight and all, but sir somehow has managed to get sunlight at 12 a.m. in India. But let's stick to the topic. A lot of cricket has been played over the last week. The Asia Cup is on, the Australia South Africa series is on, and the England New Zealand series is on at the moment as well. In fact, that's ended. We have a couple of private chats. Carry 99, yes, we will talk about that, but let's start with the England New Zealand series, which has ended recently, which ended yesterday, in fact, to be precise. uh, so David Malan is the talking point, as he was the player of the match and the player of the series for the England New Zealand ODI series. England have managed to win it 3-1. They lost the first ODI but made a stunning comeback as they won all the remaining three. Ben Stokes scoring 182. Kevin, just to put things into perspective, England's batting once again looking as threatening as it is. Ben Stokes at number 4, Malan to open the innings. You always have Joss Butler and Liam Livingstone at 5 and 6. And just imagine Johnny Bairstow and Joe Root coming in form. This could be one of the most dangerous batting lineups to have ever played in World Cup cricket. They look all set for the World Cup with this batting lineup. And do you agree with me that David Malan should open in place of Jason Roy for the World Cup as well?
Yes, I do feel so, and my opinion on that is that do you mind muting? Yeah. So, yes, I agree. It's a very formidable English batting lineup, and this the entire series that you see since Malan has taken over, he has done really well. I think he got 350s in all three games he played, and all three games England won. And it goes to show the fact that England has a very strong batting lineup, and we always keep talking about the batting. We don't talk about the bowling. The bowling has done well as well, and New Zealand did well and put the English batting in a bit of a muddle in the second ODI, but you see the likes of Butler and Livingstone also performing. And if you look at like an excellent point that Shubham made in the start was besides Roy, Root, and Besso, the other guys have all chipped in, and if there are like the law of averages is always going to catch up with you, and there will be times that you're going to see that a batsman fails, but they are not collapsed as a group together, like unlike the New Zealand batsmen. So it's a bright spot. I want to see how their bowling comes together because it's just seeing their lineup, and they have I think Wokes and Wood will definitely play. You have Ali and Rashid as to form the quartet of bowlers. Who's going to play? Who's going to be the fifth bowler? Is it going to be Sam Curran, David Willey, or Reece Stockley? And that is something that they're going to look at because Sam Curran he's the golden boy of English cricket. He's done well in the IPL as well. You would want him to play in that role, but I would like to keen towards David Willey because he can swing the ball, in. And Reece Stockley he's got a bit of more pace and bounce and kind of like a variations, but I'm not sure of his fitness, and he always gives me the illusion that he might just get injured during the game. So I would my vote of confidence would be in David Willey at least to start off in the tournament, and let's see how they go from there.
Coming back to the point of the England cricket team, Shabby, if you could join in here. I think the question is about the left arm seamer because Vokes and would play, Rashid and Moeen Ali plays, Liam Livingstone is the sixth bowler, say, Joe Root can chip in with his off spin. So I think it's either David Willey, Reece Topley, or Sam Curran. Right now they might prefer Sam Curran, considering that there is always an hype around him. He did well in the T20 World Cup last year, which they won, and he has played the IPL as well. I mean, he's hot property in the IPL. Apart from that, would you see like Reece Topley making way ahead of him, because Sam Curran can bat as well? So that's the question which needs to be asked here. Is it Sam Curran, is it Reece Topley, or is it David Willey? Because they have three options for that role.
Okay. So yeah, all three are like great left-handers, and I guess mainly play white ball cricket only. All three of them. So white ball specialist, I can say. Batting would be not very important thing that England will be looking for, because they have like loads of all-rounders. I don't think they will consider a bowler just because of his batting skill, like how India does. So England will definitely go to the pure bowling expertise and the bowling record. And I feel in that aspect, Rishi Topley is leading ahead of Willie and Sam Curran as of now. If I talk only about bowling, so I guess Rishi Topley should be preferred, and maybe after that David Willey. Sam Curran, I still feel that he is more of a T20 bowler. People tend to hate him, and then in that aspect he generally tends to get to wicket because people tend to hate him. But that doesn't happen in the ODI cricket generally. People play stably, and people generally like to take their time. So I'm not sure how Sam Curran would be that much effective as much he is in T20 cricket. So Rishi Topley and David Will is the way ahead. I feel for England.
Interesting point. So Shabby going in with Reece Topley first, then David Willey, but not preferring Sam Curran, which is fair enough. Fair enough, because we haven't seen a lot of Sam Curran in the ODI format as well, to be honest. So there are question marks, but for some reason they might prefer Sam Curran, because I think it's the hype around him, and being a hot property always in India in the IPL. So you never know. Kevin, coming to the New Zealand cricket team now, not many positives from the ODI series. I think the first match looked flawless, where Daryl Mitchell and Devon Conway scored centuries. But the last three games, the batting has looked pretty disappointing. In fact, nobody has stepped up. Conway couldn't convert the starts. You can say Mitchell hasn't got a big score after that. I think the main area of concern is Tom Latham and his form. He was the captain for this series. He hasn't stepped up at all. In fact, I would say he hasn't scored in any of the games. First game obviously didn't get to bat, but Tom Latham is an issue. Glenn Phillips did have a good knock in the third ODI, but apart from that, he as well has struggled. But the only positive you can see is Rachin Ravindra, who was fantastic with the ball and with the bat in the last ODI. So that's something which New Zealand can take as a positive, and he might start in the 11 for New Zealand once the World Cup starts. So that's something they can look at. But apart from that, Tim Saudi as well, I think, injured himself in the fourth ODI. So lot of concerns for New Zealand, and they have to get things right in 2 weeks' time before the World Cup starts, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. As a big New Zealand fan, I'm a little disappointed with the performances that they've had. Like you've seen the guys, they got a good opportunity, but not being able to make the most of it. Tom Latham, I think, is a bit of a concern because 2019 World Cup also he was a big letdown, didn't do much, and you're banking on him. And even though I think he would be the vice captain for this team, and you expect him to show a bit more of leadership and hold the lineup together, because it's just been Devin Conway and Daryl Mitchell for that matter. And I hope they are banking on his record. I think he's got two. He's got a very good record against India for that matter, and he's always done well. And he's a big key to their plans because he has the ability to play spin. He plays spin well, so they're hoping on that he manages the middle overs over there. But besides him, I don't see there's a lot. Glenn Phillips can blow hot and cold. He's more of like the Surya Kumar Yadav of this team. You don't expect him to come in and hold the innings together. That's not something that he's expected to do. He's like the kind of like Liam Livingstone, a bit of both, who can just provide you that X factor on pitches where you are expecting your score to be 240. He's the type of guy to come in and score, get you 260. So you that like New Zealand players, they have the kind of like template where they have players to fill in for those particular roles. You see Jimmy Neesham coming out of nowhere into the World Cup squad, something like Pakistan have done with Fahim Ashraf, just because they want someone who has got a bit of experience and can just provide you a bit of an X factor kind of like a performance. Kyle Jamieson unfortunately has not shown much enough, neither in the batting nor the bowling, so he misses out definitely. But now with Tim Southey being injured, I think he might just make it to the side as a backup. But I think the bowling is good with Henry and with Trent Bolt to open in the power play. Death bowling is an issue. You have Ferguson, who might just hold things together. Big positive from the series, I think, was Rachin Ravindra, because he was getting wickets. I don't know how they can fit him into the side, but if they bring him in, he will have to come in place of Ishodi. Don't think Ishodi did well on these pitches, because big grounds he should have capitalized a bit more, but for some reason he was not able to deliver. And considering the way he performed in 2019 World Cup as well, I don't think got many opportunities because of the balance that New Zealand were trying to figure out. So I think he might miss out, but big issue the batting, and I think there's a big hole over there. And Kane Williamson has to. I think even if he cannot score runs, I think his captaincy is going to be a uh, big loss for New Zealand if he cannot play the starting games.
Yeah, New Zealand has a lot of concerns, as Kevin just summarized there. But let's move on to the next ODI series, which is South Africa versus Australia. Last week, when we held the podcast, Australia were leading 2-0, and Australia still has won only two games. South Africa have managed to level the series 2-2. Some fantastic, exuberant, absolutely incredible batting from South Africa over the last two games. Third ODI, 338 or 334 is what they scored. It was Aiden Markram who scored his third ODI century, and they won the game after that, because even though Warner and Head gave them a fantastic start, the bowlers came back. Gerald Coetzee, if I'm not wrong, took four wickets in that game, and South Africa managed to get their first win of that series. But then yesterday, Henrik Klaasen and David Miller put on a record partnership at the Supersport Park. 222 of just 94 deliveries. They joined hands at 194 for 4 and ended at 416 for 5 at the end of the 50 overs. Henrik Klassen scoring 178. Shabby, what an innings. I mean, it was some breathtaking stuff. 13 sixes from Klassen. He was hitting it all over the park. If I'm not wrong, Adam Zampa got smacked for 113 of his 10 overs. South Africa, with this batting prowess, you expect Quinton de Kock to come in form, Temba Bavuma to open the innings. You have Rassie van der Dusen, who scored a half century yesterday, Aiden Markram at 4, Klassen at 5, Miller at 6. This looks like a gun batting lineup, because all of them have played in India, have the experience of playing in the IPL, except for Temba Bavuma. This looks like a gun batting lineup for the World Cup, isn't it?
Yes, yes, exactly. And the main thing, definitely, we love to see 400 scores in ODIs. That's like take a lot of efforts, and not every day you get to see 400 scores. So really great batting effort. Again, we can see these are the new ODI days of playing conditions. India seems a bit behind from all these teams. Talking about the efforts and the extra run rates they are getting in terms of batting. So absolutely great batting lineup. Andrish Klassen is really like rise from the last 1 years. I feel 1 year around. I don't think he was like that big a player initially. He was just like a secondary, tertiary keeper for them. De Kock was the main keeper, but he has suddenly risen and has become really great player since last 1 year or so. Excellent innings, and Makram is, we always know he's like great player. Somewhat like Kohli of South Africa. He has also under 19 World Cup under his captaincy, I guess, just like Kohli. So he's great player. Bavuma is coming back into the form. De Kock would be playing his last World Cup. I guess he's getting retired after ODI World Cup, so he will also give his best. Definitely great things to look forward. I feel Miller is coming to form is a great thing. I guess he was out of international form for a few years, but again he's coming back and again bringing his T20 style of play in ODIs. So again that is great stuff for Africa. So yeah, good tough fight we can see in the ODI World Cup. None of the matches would be easy. There are we thought only that two or three matches that will be tough, and then others India can properly compensate or easily win. But that's not the case. Sri Lanka excellent team, Pakistan excellent team, Africa excellent team, and our top three we already have Australia, New Zealand, England. So yeah, great matches coming up.
Yeah, Shabby makes some interesting points there. There is no easy game in the World Cup. In fact, Afghanistan as well is not an easy game, because you never know, the spinners just turn it around. 220, 230 on the board. That's enough for them. That's enough for them. Rashid Khan says picks up four wickets, so you never know. But Kevin, coming back to the South Africa Australia ODI series, South Africa, definitely the batting looks fantastic, but the spin department for South Africa, Maharaj Shamsi, obviously we discussed this a couple of weeks ago as well, that they will be short on spinners because that's just the two spinners they have in the squad, and they have picked up like 5 6 paces. And we were discussing this yesterday as well. Say Rabada takes up one spot, Marco Jansen takes one spot because he will bat at number 7. You have Maharaj and Shamsi. You have only one more spot. So either Norke plays or Lungi Ngidi plays or Gerald Coetzee plays. So all three of them can't play. And apart from that, they have Sisanda Magala in the squad. So uh, they have time till the 28th of September to change it. Do you expect another spinner to come in? Because that's something which I am expecting. They don't need 4 5 paces for that one spot. Rabada takes one spot, Marco Jansen takes the other. There's only one spot remaining. So that's the only concern for me. Apart from that, they look all set for the World Cup, Kevin.
Oh yes, exactly. That was my point of concern with this team. They had two spots, and I felt that they could have given it to one to an extra batsman in the middle order, and the second was to a spinner. And I was expecting Fortuin, the John Fortuin, to come in, but they've gone with two pacers, and just goes to think I think they're not playing the conditions well, because if you see the way they batted on their pitches, and their lineup is is built for flat batting wickets and for bouncy pitches, but I don't think you're going to see that in Asia. Maybe we might just start off with good batting wickets and then turn towards spin friendly wickets. But I'm not sure. Like you need your squad to be flexible enough, and you have a lot of pacers when you can't fit in two guys, Nokia and Lungi at the same time in the side. It just shows that you don't need backup pacers for that matter. And talking about South Africa's batting, I think it's looking one of the best that we've seen since 2000. I think they've always had good sides. I think 2019 was a little bit of disappointment, but 2011 and 2015 we had really good batting sides, and it's good to see them. Like you have Pavuma doing well. You have Decock was not done that well, but he's not been bad as well. And you expect him with the kind of experience that he has with Mumbai Indians with in the IPL. You expect him to give them good starts. You have the good point for them. The good positive was Rashi Singh getting some runs, and the way he got those runs, even though it was a small 50, the way he got those runs is something that it was just showed that he's getting his range back. You have him at 3, you have 4, you have Markram who has the ability to play on these wickets. You can hold the innings together at number 4, and you have Klassen, who's been an excellent player and biggest positive since he's come over to Sunrisers Hyderabad. And David Miller, as always, with his explosiveness. Number 7 is an issue, but I don't think that they might want to. There's nothing that they can do for that, and might as well play someone like a Marco Jansen who can who he gives you the left arm angle. Wayne Parnell would have been my choice for it, but with the Marco Jansen, you expect him to give you a bit more of bounce and try to swing it a bit. So you have him there. You have Rabada with his experience and wicket taking abilities. And I just wanted to point out with the match you saw yesterday, you see the number of short balls that they bowled. I'm excited to see this South African attack bowl to India in Kolkata because I guess the Kolkata pitch has a bit of pace and bounce, and it's going to be an exciting encounter for South Africa. And I think they have a few more matches in Kolkata, so let's see how that goes from there. But yes, the spinners, I'm not confident enough with Shamsi. He bowls a lot more bad balls as compared to good balls, and on slow turning wickets, I think the number of bad balls you bowl is what might cost you the game. So let's see how Maharaj and Shamsi go. I think they're key in this World Cup is going to be the success of Maharaj and Shamsi as a duo because I don't remember them bowling together that frequently and doing well for South Africa. And I'm just hoping and praying that we don't see a knockout game between between New Zealand and South Africa. I've had that in 2011, 2015. 2019 was a bit of like kind of like a knockout, and I support both these teams. But when it comes to South Africa and New Zealand, I always prefer to support New Zealand. But this time, I my heart is with South Africa because I want them to do well. This is going to be their last chance. Yes.
Coming to the Australian team now, the big news is that Travis Head might have fractured his hand, and that would cause issues to his World Cup appearance this year. And he was in gun form, 60 average, 117 strike rate, some insane numbers. Travis Head opening the batting. Shabby, I think it could be a blessing in disguise with the fact that Mitchell Marsh might be pushed to open the innings, and you can fit in Steve Smith at 3 and Marnus at 4 because that's the only thing we were discussing over the last couple of weeks, how to fit in Marnus in the World Cup squad. Right now they don't have a spot for him. The spot we discussed was probably Sean Abbott's spot. But now, if Travis Head is ruled out of the World Cup, you can straight up bring in Marnus Labuschagne at number four. Smith bats three. You have Stoinis at five, Carey at six, and Maxwell at seven. Hopefully, all fit and fine to go for the World Cup.
Yes, yes, correct. Manas can definitely come in place of Head if he gets injured, but I don't wish to that he gets injured. Really, bang player. I feel opens and strikes well. Have ability to play big innings because he's a test player, and absolutely like maybe he's like successor of Warner somewhat. So and Warner we know like he's not in consistent form. Sometimes does well, sometimes like gets out immediately within 2 3 overs. So Head was really great asset for them. I don't think that even if he's fractured, there is still 1.5. Oh, sorry, no, the World Cup is starting just like after 2 weeks. So, if at all they take him, he won't be available like for half of the World Cup. So that will be like bigger risk for them. So, not sure whether they will take him, and maybe mostly Labuschagne will directly replace him in the World Cup squad. So it is a big loss, I feel. Even though Manas will come in, but it is a big loss for Australia that Head is not there.
Kevin, couple of concerns for Australia. In your opinion, the only good thing was Alex Carey scoring 99 in yesterday's game. Apart from that, it was a horrible game for them. Adam Zampa struggling. Most of the fast bowlers struggling as well. Hazelwood, I think, got his worst figures in ODI cricket, is what the commentators were saying, which was still 79. 2 wickets for 79, which is decent. Obviously not good, but decent on a flat wicket. So a couple of yes, this is not their first. This is not their full strength fast bowling lineup. You expect Cummins to come back, Stark to come back, and then Hazelwood as the backup, and then you have Sean Abbott as the fourth pacer, if I'm not wrong. But little bit of concerns with Zampa getting smacked like that, or it's just a matter of 1 or 2 games and you expect them to come back stronger.
I don't think it's a big bit of concern because I don't think he bowled bad. If you look at the balls that he bowled, it was he was just trying to take wickets, and it was just Miller and Clarkson were really in good form, and I don't think they missed at anything. And I don't think it's a bit of concern, but my biggest concern with Australia is the captaincy. You have Pat Cummins who's going to come in and he's going to play almost all games, and I don't see Pat Cummins making the side. You just I'm surprised with their strategy. They're having Marcus Stoinis bowl in the power play. He's done well. He's not done bad as compared to for a guy who bowls mostly part time, and now he's becoming for a full time kind of bowler. But you have Josh Hazelwood, you have Mitchell Stark and Pat Cummins, where you expect Pat Cummins to bowl. So because Josh Hazelwood has been really good for them, and so with Pat Cummins coming in, I think their lineup needs a recheck. You have someone like Cam Green, who's really a good player and who could do something that who could easily replace Pat Cummins for that matter, but you can't play him. And sad for them is that Josh Inglis has not grabbed the opportunities that have been at his display, and you have to play him just because you need a backup keeper. So it's there are issues that are kind of like hindering the progress of Australian cricket for that matter. They have a no doubt they have really good players, but I cannot see them finding the right balance, the right level, because you have Glenn Maxwell who's going to come in, and you need him because he can play spinners well. He can bowl you that bit of off spin that you need. Travis Head, unfortunate. Manas really in good form, can play well, but you cannot slot him in. So it's a bit of a middle. I don't muddle for them actually. Sean Abbott, I don't see him at what he can bring because I felt Josh, not Josh. I think uh, it's Nathan Ellis for that matter, who's a much better bowler in these kind of conditions. Did well in for Punjab Kings as well by bowling the scutters. So I feel bad for Australia, like, but you need a yeah. I know I believe in their board. They make the tough decisions, and I'm expecting them to make a tough decision now. And I let's hope that they get in Manas because you are uncertain on the fitness of I think 4 players at the moment. You have Steve Smith coming back from injury, you have Maxwell coming back from injury, you have Pat Cummins coming back from injury. So you need a guy like Manas who's done well and who's in good form who can hold that innings together because I'm sweating on the form of David Warner. He blows hot and cold, and you expect him with kind of experiences to if not be consistent, give them consistent starts and not just be a guy who just goes within the first 5 overs of an innings. So let's see how they go from there.
Interesting points there about the Australian cricket team. Kevin says that there are a couple of concerns to watch out for. Kevin is not in favor of Pat Cummins playing all the games, is what it seems. But he has a good ODI record. I mean, 75 games, 124 wickets at an economy of 5.21. That's decent numbers. If you add some of his batting credentials as well, he should make the 11. He should make the starting 11 of each and every game. Shabby, if you're there, let's start with the big tournament which is going on right now, the Asia Cup. Last Saturday, when we discussed the India Pakistan game, was not happened yet, hadn't happened yet, but it was a fantastic game for India, not so for Pakistan, as India piled on the runs with Virat Kohli and KL Rahul scoring centuries. A big plus for India is that KL Rahul straight up coming in at number 4, number 5, scoring runs and scoring crucial runs. So that's something which India would be really, really happy with. Apart from that, Rohit Sharma got a half century, and he got a half century in the next game as well against Sri Lanka. That was a great game for India as well, where they defended a low total. Yes, probably there were some concerns about how the Indian batters played the spinners. 5 wickets to Vella Lage, 4 to Asalanka, if I'm not wrong, 1 to Tikshna. So that's something which was concerning for Sri Lanka, for India. But in between, there was a Pakistan Sri Lanka game as well, which not in between. It was after the India Sri Lanka game, which went down to the wire, absolute wire. Last ball, 2 runs required. Asalanka flicks it onto the onside, gets the 2 runs, and takes Sri Lanka to the final. They play the final against India tomorrow. And then we also had a India Bangladesh game yesterday, which once again went down to the wire, and India didn't play a full strength side, but and as a result, they lost the game by 5 runs. But let's start with the Pakistan team first. Lost to India, then lost to Sri Lanka, and the big point of concern for Pakistan is Haris Rauf and Naseem Shah's injury. They made 5 changes to that 11 which played against Sri Lanka. Shabby, are they panicking? What's happening there? Because just a game before that, everybody was like Pakistan could be clear favorites for the World Cup with the way they are bowling. Shaheen Shah Afridi, Haris Rauf, Naseem Shah, you have Shadab Khan. And suddenly, Shadab Khan's form is gone. You have Naseem and Haris on the bench because of injuries. Fakhr Zaman was out of form, but they picked him for the last game because, and then suddenly brought in Abdullah Shafiq in place of Imamullah. A lot of questions over the Pakistan cricket team is what it seems. Shabby, your thoughts on what's happening with Pakistan?
Yes, yes. So, main thing was like injury concerns. Mainly, they absolutely shattered when in the second day of India-Pakistan match, suddenly Haris Rauf got injured and he couldn't come for his last 5 overs. And their downfall started from that exact moment. I feel that Kohli and KL Rahul capitalized on that 5 overs of Iftikhar Ahmed, which he bowled in place of Haris Rauf. So perfectly capitalized. They couldn't get any wicket on the second day, and that's where their confidence got very low, and that same was carried on in the match versus Sri Lanka as well. Uh, they faced one more injury in place of Naseem Shah that day, and also someone else was having a fever. I feel Fahim Ashraf. So Fakar Zaman they had to bring in for no reason. Actually, he was actually not named in the playing XI for that name, which they announced a day earlier of that match. But again, they had to bring is because of sudden injury on the day of the match. So we have to like be compassionate with them. I feel like 5 injuries is too much for a team, and that happened with them on a single day. So that's why they couldn't play the full strength side. And talking about specifically about Shaheen Shah Afridi, so he's definitely not injured. He's doing perfectly fit, but his form is a bit concern. I feel he's not taking wickets initially, and that's what is the success mantra for Pakistan. I feel these days that if Shaheen Shah doesn't do well in power play, their bowling completely lost its control. That's what even the experts are saying in the commentators. So that's the problem they're facing in apart from injuries. And specifically talking about Naseem Shah as well now, just saw the news that he might not be able to make it to World Cup as well, which is like very big blow because he was, I thought he's the number one in the form right now among their three pacers. So, and he himself is got injured. That is a concern for them.
Yeah, I think Shabby summed it up pretty well, saying that it's just the injuries which is causing Pakistan concern, and hopefully all are fit. I think Naseem Shah is the biggest loss for them. If he can't make the World Cup, then that would be a very big loss for Pakistan. Because to be honest, Shaheen Shah Afridi has the hype around him, but it's Naseem Shah. It's Naseem Shah. The way he bowls with pace, he swings the ball both ways, and he's got some serious pace. 140, 140, 145. In fact, at that age, he is a future prospect for Pakistan over the next 7 to 10 years. So that would be a big miss for Pakistan. Kevin, from Pakistan, let's move to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has been playing some fantastic cricket. Firstly, against India, came very, very close. In fact, had Dhananjaya De Silva not played that shot, they could have probably won that game, just 40 runs away. Well of the game. 5 wickets in that game, and then scoring a crucial 42 runs as well. Apart from that, you can see Kusal Mendes getting some crucial runs. Sadira Samaravikrama in one of the games against Bangladesh, if I'm against Afghanistan, got 93. So there are a couple of batters. They brought in Kusal Pereira in place of Dimut Karunaratne, who I am a big fan of. Pereira played one of the best test innings I could ever see against South Africa, if anybody remembers that. So Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka looks really good at the moment with their spinners as well. Once Hasaranga comes back, you never know. Sri Lanka could upset a couple of big teams in the World Cup. You could say that Australia game, the England game. You never know. Say Hasaranga, Tikshna get going. They have Velalage as well. If there is some turn on offer, Sri Lanka looks like a dangerous side at the moment, Kevin.
Yes, exactly. I was going to highlight this point as well. With Sri Lanka, you know, the kind of like a mystery. You see, they like not many fans will remember this, but they are the first Asian team to beat South Africa in South Africa. And when you go back to see how they did it without their big guys. There was no Chandimal for that matter. There was no Matthews for that matter as well. I think so. They didn't have the big boys, and with unknown players, they went and they did well. And you come back to see over here, you don't have Hasaranga, and they've still gone on to upset Pakistan for that matter. And I think there is a lot of hype around Hasaranga doing well in the World Cup, but I don't think so. He's going to be the key bowler. You expect on turning wickets, your finger spinners to come into play a lot, and that is where I see Hasaranga is the type of bowler he needs to bounce, he needs big grounds, and on when you need a bit of control and just a wicket to wicket kind of like bowling. I think that's where the guys like Dhananjay De Silva, Aslanka for that matter, did really well. Even Mahesh Theekshana, they're going to come into play, and I feel bad for Pakistan that they missed out and a lot of injuries for them. Like it didn't go their way, but they did. But they gave a good fight for that matter, and I think they should be proud. I think there was one decision that took. I think Imam didn't play, and they had Shafiq come in. So I don't know what is the thought process behind that, but I think they need to Pakistan. Just as their spinners, I think, is where they are being held back, and their middle order. But besides that, it's a fantastic unit. Coming back to Sri Lanka for the matter, I'm very keen on seeing what squad are they putting together, because there's still no news, and you see that they have the senior guys. You have Kumara, you have Chandima, you have Matthews, but I don't think they're going to be I think very kind of like I think ruthless in their selection process by picking the young and fresh talent as compared to the experienced guy. But I wish that they get some kind of experience and at least need someone like a Kushal Parana to open the innings for them instead of someone like a Dimut Kandarutne, because this guy unfortunately has not gone on to have a very good career for Sri Lanka, but he can do for them what Jayasuriya did back in 1996 for them, and he can take the attack to the opposition and exploit the middle overs. Mendes coming back in form is a good positive for them. I don't know where Bhanuka Rajapaksa fits in, or whether he's a part of their plans. I'm not sure. Shanaka is a bit of here and there, but I think because he's you know you he's having a captain who's not performing that well. I think just doesn't pressurize your players, youngsters to go out of their way and do well. So I think he's just there in for the captaincy. I hope he comes good sometime. But I think Sri Lanka, like Shubham Bharata made a very good point. I think they're going to be the tougher opponent for India, because they like whenever we play Sri Lanka, we always had the upper hand over them. But in when it comes to such tournaments, I don't know how they despite the injuries and losing out on their key players, they still managed to bring in some talent. And it's unfortunate for us that we don't have much of these players playing in the IPL, so most of our players will not know what to expect from them. So let's see where they go from there. Very excited for tomorrow's final, and think I wish the pitch offers a bit of like a spin and slow turn, and we could see an interesting 240, 250 kind of chase.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's not forget that Sri Lanka are the defending champions of the Asia Cup. Last year, T20 format in Dubai, they have won the tournament. I don't know how many of you remember it. India never played the final. Pakistan played the final, but they lost to Sri Lanka in Dubai. So you never know Sri Lanka with all the spin credentials they have. As Kevin mentions, if there is some turn on offer, they become a deadly dangerous side tomorrow. We will come to the final. Before that, just the news which everybody might have read is that Mahesh Tikshna and Akshar Patel are ruled out of the Asia Cup 2023 final. Both of them are not available, so a blow to both the sides. So that's something which needs to be watched out for. So who plays in place of them? We will come to that. Before that, let's discuss the Indian cricket team now. A couple of games this week. Fantastic game against three games in fact this week. Two were back to back. India playing three back to back days. In fact, against Pakistan they played 2 days, 2 consecutive days. That was a great game where all top four scored runs. Rohit Sharma getting a half century, Shubman Gill getting a half century, and then Kohli and Rahul getting their centuries as well. Then against Sri Lanka, you could say that Rohit Sharma started off brilliantly. Gill looked good as well, but then you could see that there was some turn on offer on the pitch, and then the Sri Lankan spinners managed to hold back India to 2-1-3. Shabby, if you could join in here, the game against Bangladesh as well, we made wholesale changes, 3-4 changes in the squad. But Shubman Gill's knock was absolutely fantastic, 121 of 133 balls. So the positives, there are a lot of positives for India, but a couple of concerns I would say. Ishan Kishan in the middle order has got stuck against spin a couple of times. So do you bring in Shreyas Iyer once he's fit? Probably tomorrow. What do you see? How do you see how it going? How do you see it going?
Yes. Shreyas Iyer needs match practice as well, so they have to bring him back. Ishan Kishan, okay, you got him 3 matches, 3 chances. He played one. He played good in one of the match, but now definitely Shreyas Iyer could come in. I feel in place of Ishan Kishan, they had to bring in. And apart from that, Shubman Gill's innings against Bangladesh was really good. He tried to hit in the later part of the matches. Initially he was more of a like just building on the runs and building on partnership. Yeah, he tried his like best to get the game till end, try to be silent, but then he lost his wicket at very crucial time. That was not very mature from his side, but again he was like running out of partners, so I couldn't blame him completely for his wicket. But yeah, I would have loved to like see him finishing matches like he did in IPL actually. So if they're considering him like successor of Kohli, successor of Rohit Sharma, then he has to do such things in his younger days of finishing the matches like how Kohli did in his younger days. So no, don't not a big worry. Great thing is that he's back in form. He played good against Nepal and now against Bangladesh as well. So I feel let's see what happened tomorrow. How much he plays along with Rohit Sharma, who is like daddy of Sri Lanka. So let's see tomorrow what combination they play in. Akshar Patel not there. I don't think big loss for India because anyway Shardul Thakur is their preferred all rounder at number 8. I feel so. Shardul Thakur will play definitely, and all the batsmen and bowlers who were rested will come back. Hardik Pandya, your Bumrah, and all those. So yeah, really looking forward to tomorrow's match. Hoping for a tough match, and again, as you mentioned, the main thing India should get to chase, so that will be like some good match we can see, I guess, if India is chasing.
Kevin, if you could join in here, the one point of discussion which we can have here is Akshar Patel's replacement. They have brought in Washington Sundar has flown to Sri Lanka. Interesting choice there because India didn't have an off spinner and suddenly Washington Sundar has come into the picture. Could they have preferred Ravichandran Ashwin at this point of time, or how are they thinking about this? Because Sundar can bat at 8, they are looking to bring him in the squad. Uh, what's the thinking there? If you could just chip in here. Apart from that, what do you think of Tilak Verma making his debut yesterday? I think he's not going to play the World Cup. Yeah, Shreyas Iyer was not fit. That was the reason, you can argue. And apart from that, Surya Kumar Yadav, once again, you mentioned on the group as well, his form in ODI format, his credentials in the ODI format are not up there. Yesterday had a golden chance to finish it off for India, probably with Shubman Gill. He was looking absolutely flawless on the other end, but still managed to waste that chance. So, but you have no other option again. So, a couple of points there: Washington Sundar, and then the batting with Tilak Verma and Surya Kumar Yadav.
I just want some clarification. Was Virat Kohli injured that you had to bring him, or did you rest him?
No, Kohli was rested. Kohli was rested.
Because it was a poor decision, in my opinion, to get into the Kurma for this game. Because you, if it had Tilak Verma done well, what was your backup plan? Are you thinking of let's take him to the World Cup in case if there is an injury, or is Sanju Samson number one replacement for in case any of your players like tomorrow if Shreyas Iyer is unfit to play the World Cup, do you get in Tilak Verma for that matter, or you get in Sanju Samson? That is the call that they need to make. And Tilak Verma, if you saw some of the spin that he bowled, I think the Bangladesh players took him on, and I don't think that I saw anything like I think Rohit Sharma would have done a bit better, kind of like a better job in bowling off spin as compared to Tilak Verma. Just because a guy can just roll his arm doesn't mean that you pick him to the side. So I was a little disappointed with that kind of selection. I don't feel that Virat Kohli should have been rested for that matter because you don't want you want your best players to play as much as possible, and you could, if you wanted, you could just if you were underestimating the might of Bangladesh players, you could have actually had Virat Kohli go down the order and play your guys up the order and just have Virat Kohli just handle the kind of the situation. I think we've not taken into factor that India has not been chasing well, especially on slow turning wickets. I don't think they've chased well post 2017 for that matter. Cannot recall good chases. Yeah, I'm not sure for that matter, but I'll have to go and look at the stats. But I think in high pressure games when it matters the most, is not being able to chase good the high scores. So that's a bit of a concern for that matter. Talking about the selection between Ashwin and Washington Sundar, if there was any replacement, I would have always picked Ravi Ashwin because I hope the obsession for left-handed players is not why they've gone ahead with Washington Sundar for that matter, because Ashwin is a phenomenally good bowler, especially when it comes to bowling to left-handers, and it's sad that India didn't consider that kind of an option. I would have always preferred, in case we're playing on these kind of pitches in the World Cup, I would have Ashwin open the bowling because every team has a left-handed batsman at the top of the order. So I would just imagine the prospect of having Ashwin bowl to Conway, Travis Head, David Warner, Imamullah, Fakhar Zaman, Quinton de Kock, and I think and even David Malan for that matter. So I think it's an opportunity that they have lost. If you look at the game, we've not analyzed much about the game against Bangladesh for that matter. I wish you see Akshar Patel and Jadeja. They just had I think 2 wickets between them. And you expect more from your spinners on conditions that are spin friendly. It just showed that they were completely outplayed. Some of the sixes that I saw, and the way the Bangladesh batsmen countered them, it was like as if they've been playing them quite a lot, like in domestic cricket. So I think I am not pretty sure how we're going to go in the World Cup on spin friendly wickets because there might be games that are the average score might be 240, but you expect India with the kind of might that they have, they bowl the opposition down 200 and don't let them get to 220. But I think that our bowling is not that strong enough to dismiss the opposition pretty quickly because there was a like during the chase, I think around when we were 6 wickets down, around the 40th over, there was a stat that showed that Bangladesh, for that matter, was at the same kind of like situation as we were, exactly the similar situation, and we had batting up to number 9 for that matter with Shardul Thakur and Akshar Patel coming in. So you expected India to chase this kind of score, and the very fact that they couldn't chase it just goes to show that I think somewhere we're not making most of our resources. So it's I think like you can say we are not playing our number one side in that game, but these games are going to be very close when it comes to the World Cup, and the pitches are going to play a lot of are going to decide a lot in the World Cup. And coming back to I think there was the point about Washington Sundar. I want to see whether he makes it to the side. I think he does. I think they would want him to play in place of Akshar Patel and kind of like replace him. Let's see how he goes from there because he's a bit of both. Like, and I see him as a player. If you want to bring him to the side, you have to bring him in place of Ravindra Jadeja. You can't play him in addition to Ravindra Jadeja because both of them do a bit of both. And there's I cannot expect a lot of runs from them. Cannot expect a lot of wickets from them, but they're just quite kind of like utility players. They just help you get the balance.
Yeah, we'll come to the point of the playing 11s for tomorrow. Just before that, there's a question in the chat saying who is India's best player of spin. In the ODI format is what we are expecting to answer this. Shabby, if you could chip in here, probably I don't know. We need to look at the stats, but I think Shreyas Iyer probably with all his batting credentials against Spain, he's pretty good. Uh, Gill looked fantastic yesterday against top quality spin, whether it was Shakib, whether it was Mehdi Hassan, whether it was Nasoom or Mehdi. There are two Mehdi Hassans yesterday. So I think Gill and Shreyas Iyer among the young players look really good. Kohli used to be really good against spin, but suddenly, most of you know that he does struggle to hit hit boundaries against them. Still does manage to rotate strike at times, but the hitting boundaries is something which he struggles with. And Rohit Sharma as well has some concerns against left arm spin. So my answer would be Shreyas Iyer and Gill probably. Shabby, I'll come to you. Can answer this as well once I come to you. But before that, now also let's start the discussion for tomorrow's game, which is the Asia Cup final. In fact, it's today in India. It's tomorrow for us. It's today in India and in Sri Lanka. India taking on Sri Lanka in R Premadasa Stadium at Colombo once again. Let's assume that there is some turn on offer on the pitch. Jadeja is your one spinner. Kuldeep is your second spinner. Probably Kuldeep is your first choice spinner based on what's happening right now. But do you go in with Washington Sundar? Because I think top six, top seven are pretty much fixed. Bumrah plays, Siraj plays. The only point of concern is: do you go in with Washington Sundar, or are you going in with Shardul Thakur? That's the only question, Shabby, for tomorrow's 11 for India against Sri Lanka. And as I said, you can answer that question as well. So yeah.
Yeah, sure. Talking about best spin player, I guess Kohli has to be like one of the top names because he really plays well in the middle overs of ODI especially, and does well against spinners. He has range of shots. But yeah, recently we have seen his record against left arm spinners, left arm orthodox spinners. Lost his wicket to Villalage as well in match against Sri Lanka. So that is one of the like weaknesses that we can see in recent days for Kohli, but otherwise he's like really good spin against spinners. And I don't know why you didn't take the name of KL Rahul. KL Rahul is again really good player of spinner, I feel. Just like Kohli, he plays well against confidently against sweep shots, and again he also has like a lot of range of shots. So he's like again a very good player of spinner, I feel. KL Rahul. Moving ahead about tomorrow's match, playing Washington Sundar. So, if I want to give my honest opinion, here, I don't think that would be a great decision to play him directly in the playing XI because, firstly, don't think he has any match practice currently. Not sure whether he's playing domestic or anything, but at least international level, I'm not sure when he played his last match. Was it there in West Indies series? I don't remember properly.
No, I
Uh,
don't think so. He
no,
was no.
yeah,
I think
correct,
he
correct.
played the
So,
Ireland series. I think he played the Ireland series,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
apart from
Ireland
that, I
series.
haven't seen him. Yeah, I haven't seen him. He
Ireland
got
series was yeah.
injured midway through the IPL as well. So yeah.
Yes, yes. Again and again, that was a T20 cricket. This is ODI cricket. So I don't think that would be a good decision to play him. But yeah, if you say that conditions would be very much spin friendly and you have to have like three spinners, then there is no option for Rohit Sharma to not take him. But I don't think they will still prefer Shardul Thakur over him. They will try to play him as much as possible. And again, you have Jadeja and Kuldeep as your two spinners. So no, I don't think I definitely do not support playing Washington Sundar. Had he been a part of World Cup, then okay. But if he's not in part of World Cup, you have just brought him as a replacement, and again having no match practice as well. So there are three negatives against him. I feel to not play him. So I feel I see Shalu Thakur only playing tomorrow.
Kevin, your point of view on this? That's the only point of selection for India. But apart from that, the 10 players are pretty much certain, barring no injuries. So I think you briefly made a point that maybe Washington Sundar makes the 11, because if there is some turn on offer with left-handers as well in the Sri Lankan side, Kusal Pereira, Charita Salanka, you never know. You might need Washington Sundar's 6-7 overs of spin. So your thought on that? Whether Thakur or Sundar who plays tomorrow?
Like I think we need to look at what the management is trying to. Are we trying to win the game, or are we trying to prepare, give our players more
Obviously, I
experience?
think obviously India will look to win the game. It's the Asia Cup final.
No, why is because you're getting a player. Just if I want to win the World Cup, I know the kind of conditions. It's going to be spin friendly. I would expect Washington Sundar to come in because he's a guy who could bowl somewhere in the power play, can bowl in the middle overs, and you would require a player who could take the ball away from the kind of like the left-handers for the matter. But in case if you're trying to prepare for the World Cup, because then Washington Sundar doesn't play because you might have a situation in the World Cup where you have like this kind of an injury where your player goes out, Akshar Patel might go out, and then what do you do? So and you would have to make good with whatever resources you have at your display. So from that kind of an perspective, then Shardul Thakur. So you have Bumrah with bowling with I presume a Siraj will play the final. So you have Bumrah and Siraj one and two. You would have Jadeja for the matter. You have three players in, and you have two slots that are left open. Kuldeep comes in at number four, and you have the fifth slot. So I would presume it would go to the spinner who's in the side, and because you don't have any other spinner, you have to play Washington Sundar in case because if you see the kind of batting that Shardul Thakur has done, I don't think he's looked that promising enough. He's not got much runs. He's got breakthroughs, but I think I would have more of Hardik Pandya bowl instead of having Shardul Thakur bowl. So that's my opinion on that. Because if you're preparing from the World Cup in perspective, then I would have Shardul Thakur play in place of Washington Sundar.
Interesting points there from Kevin. For Sri Lanka, Mahesh Tikshna is ruled out of the Asia Cup final. So I think that's the only change they will be looking to make. And I think Dushan Hemanta, the leg spinner, might come in. I don't see them getting in a pacer. Kasun Rajit already plays. So probably they have two pacers in Binura Fernande and Pramod Madushan. But I don't expect a pacer to come in because last game as well they troubled India with the spinners and they would like to have another spinner in the 11. So obviously they have Velalage, they have Dhananjay De Silva to bowl some off spin, they have Charit Asalanka to bowl some more off spin. So that's something which they will look to get in a spinner. Tomorrow's game, India versus Sri Lanka, starts 3 p.m. uh, IST, 3 p.m. IST, 5:30 a.m. EST. We previewed it as well. Kevin, Shabby, just quickly, who starts favorites? Who are you expecting to win the Asia Cup tomorrow or today in India? Shabby, let's start with you. Do you think India start as favorites and they should manage to get the trophy?
India are favorites definitely. Sri Lanka are not favorites, and because they are not favorite, they have more chance of winning. Okay, because they don't have pressure of expectations. They will play with very free mind, and India will have that pressure of expectation. So I hope you understood my answer.
He's played it both ways. So, Shabby, what he will do is if India wins, he will just put the first 10 seconds of the clip saying that he always said that India are favorites. If India lose, he will just put the last 10 seconds of the clip saying that Sri Lanka were supposed to win the game.
Yes, yes.
Kevin, Sri Lanka start as defending champions. Last year won the Asia Cup against Pakistan, have upset Pakistan in the last game. You never know. Who do you think is winning this?
I think whoever wins the toss wins the game because just goes to show. I want to see. I want to.
So
I have a
wins
theory
the
that.
win the toss and take bat, right? Bat first.
Yeah, I think so. I think so because I don't think Sri Lanka is the only team that has won chasing as of now in this Asia Cup, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I mean, India won against Nepal, but that was something which was nothing to chase. 145 in 23 overs. But yeah, you make a good point actually. Even yesterday against Bangladesh, 266 was not chased down. So yes, win the toss, bat first, get those 250, 260 runs on the board, and that should be enough with some spinners to turn it in the middle overs.
I would like to
So let's
see.
see.
I would
Yeah.
like to see tomorrow the team that loses the toss want to win the game. That would be very interesting aspect of the game. I want to see a 240 kind of like a chase, 240 to 50. I want to see whichever team, whoever plays well, kind of like go on to do well. Interesting point. I don't know. We discussed. I don't see how they can get Shreyas Iyer into this game. Though I would like to see him because I feel that he's a very good player of spin and of medium pace bowling. But Ishan Kishan has done well against Pakistan, so he gets a nod ahead. So sad for
No,
that
I
matter.
think if Shreyas Iyer is fit tomorrow, he might come in for Ishan Kishan. He might come in for Ishan Kishan because Kishan has struggled against spin over the last two games. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I expect. If Shreyas Iyer is fit, he comes in for Kishan. What do you think, Kevin?
I would want to see him, but then there's something called continuity, and let's say you would like to give him one more kind of like innings, and in case he fails, then you can say because this is if in case you bring in Shreyas Iyer for that matter, and he doesn't do well, you have the games against Australia, and unlike Sri Lanka, that who are more of medium pace bowlers, you have Australia who have got guys who can bowl, who can crank it up a bit. And Shreyas Iyer, I don't think even Ishan Kishan for that matter has kind of came to negate that kind of bowling, especially the short pitch stuff. So it's going to be a bit of you can say middle muddle. That's where I was expecting Surya Kumar Yadav to, in case if there's such an issue, he could come in at number four. But as we've seen yesterday as well, they're considering him at number six. And the way he batted yesterday, I was very disappointed. Just trying to sweep everything. He could have just tried to step out, try to, I wouldn't have minded had he got himself stumped out, but had he just used his speed, because he's such a good player of spin, but he completely just lost the plot. But it's a good thing. Like it's a good phase of you can say planning and strategizing. At the end of the day, it's just about how the coach and captain manage the players. Whatever decision they take, they have to back that kind of player. So, irrespective of whoever plays, it's going to be a good side. It's going to be a good game of cricket for that matter. We can always talk and debate about it. It's just about how the team goes ahead from here. And I want to say I have a theory that says if India win this Asia Cup, they might not go on to win the World Cup. So this kind of loss, if they lose tomorrow, it's the way in the dignity in which they lose that game is going to set up the tone for the World Cup because they had a similar game in I think in the World Cup when they lost to South Africa. They lost the ODI series in South Africa. They lost the game against South Africa. That's something that they should have won. But the lessons that they learned from that game was the foundation for why they went on to win the World Cup in 2011. So let's see how they go from there.
Interesting there from Kevin. See, even if India win the Asia Cup or lose the Asia Cup, I don't see them winning the World Cup. That's how we set low expectations. Because you don't want to get disappointed expecting India winning the World Cup and then seeing them get knocked out in the semifinals once again. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Another knockout game, another high pressure game. Sri Lanka are looking good, but yes, as Shabby said, India start as favorites when India take on Sri Lanka at the R. Premas at the Dasa Stadium in Colombo. That's it for today. Thank you very much for joining us on Cricket Adda. Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And we will be back next week with the winner of the Asia Cup and probably the India Australia series starts as well. So, and the South Africa Australia series will be wrapped up by then. So, a lot of cricket still coming up this week as well. Thank you very much. Do join us next week. Stay tuned.